Hey everybody, today's April 2nd, 2020. In this video, we're going to talk about 4 more celebrity deaths to have occurred of COVID-19. And if you've been following this channel recently, I've been covering a lot of these deaths. And I think you kind of get the point after these 4. But feel free to check back on my channel to see decodes on a number of these. And we see a consistent trend among all of these deaths. Actors, musicians, celebrities with Gematria matching coronavirus, COVID-19, and other variations, which also then line up with their birthdays. On this channel, we talk about the language of numerology with a primary focus on Gematria, the practice and observation of coding numbers into words. And when you begin paying attention to these very basic ciphers and start decoding the media and the stories it produces, you realize that something very, very strange is going on in this world. Let's start with the death of Adam Schlesinger, who is a younger victim of coronavirus. And I actually wonder, did they change this headline? Okay. Yeah, they did. They changed it from singer to co-founder. Interesting. Well, we'll go with what the CNN's headline did show earlier today when I created this post. As the headline read, Adam Schlesinger, Fountains of Wayne singer, dead at 52 from COVID-19. Using the standard alphabetic order, this headline gives us a Gematria value of 629. Notice the 314 in reduction, a little pi tribute, but we'll focus on this ordinal value of 629. Schlesinger was born on October 31st of 1967, meaning that one day before he died, he had turned exactly 629 months old. The disease that took his life is said to be COVID-19. Notice how the name Adam sums to 19 in ordinal, and in that same cipher, Schlesinger equals 119. Numbers are most closely related to their prime relationships. Notice how the 19th prime number is 67. Schlesinger was born in the year 67. The 67th prime number, 331, some news outlets have been reporting that that's the date that he died. Wikipedia is now back to showing April 1st, but there's mixed reports there. Also in Gematria, notice how COVID-19 equals 67 in reduction. Now towards the end of this video, I might do a little bit of live decoding, but one thing I'm going to be bringing up is a post that I made way back in February of 2018. And in this post, I explain some of the numerology as far as why I thought 2020 could be a significant year, maybe the year of the next 9/11. And as we've been experiencing here in the United States, ever since the coronavirus outbreak, we are indeed in the midst of a new 9/11, a new reshaping of society and the consciousness that goes along with it. 67, a number of sacrifice. And what really stuck out to me about Adam Schlesinger is that he died of COVID-19 and he was only 52 years old. Now, yes, the death toll or the mortality rate is said to be like 0.2%, so 1 in every 150 people die. But the rate at which celebrities have been dying has been way, way too high, and I've been continuing to talk about this in all of my videos. And the mortality rate for someone in their 50s is actually not that high at all. I don't think it's that much higher than the average rate. But here we are with another young celebrity said to have died from this disease. And one of the bands that he joined was called Fever High, and one of the symptoms of COVID-19 is said to be a very high fever. So what are the odds that this guy joined a band called Fever High after founding his original Fountains of Wayne group? Also, notice how coronavirus equals 155 in ordinal. Fever high equals 155 in reverse. One of my more popular posts recently talked about Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson allegedly having coronavirus. They were the first two celebrities diagnosed with the disease, and news of this event broke the same day that coronavirus was declared a pandemic by the World Health Organization. So I talked about how this was a bunch of bullcrap, and this was just the beginning of a massive mind control operation, and that's certainly what it's developed into. Well, Schlesinger was also known for writing the lead song on a 1996 film called That Thing You Do, which was Tom Hanks's directorial debut. So Tom Hanks, the first celebrity to get diagnosed with the disease, and now this guy, who writes a song for his feature film, said to have died of coronavirus. Now, in Jewish or Latin gematria, Thomas Jeffrey Hanks, his full name, sums to 1530 in Jewish gematria. Notice how Adam Schlesinger died 153 days after his birthday. By the way, April 1st is April Fool's Day. This is also 153 in ordinal. Schlesinger, coronavirus, and April 1st all equal 56 in reduction. The other band that this man is credited for joining was called Ivy. And notice how Ivy sums to 56 in English ordinal. Can't ignore the 1109 in Jewish gematria for Ivy. This disease scientifically is called SARS-CoV-2. Here we've been calling this event the second 9/11, and notice how there's an upside-down 9/11 in the gematria of this disease. Of course, 9 times 11, also 99. Remember, the first 9/11 was a recreation of Tisha B'Av, 9/11 in Jewish gematria. That was the 9th day on the 11th month on the civil calendar in Hebrew. And the date written 1109 on the Gregorian calendar is November 9th, 1109. So this is a very significant number, one that's certainly intentionally coded in. His full name was Adam Lyons Schlesinger. And check out how this equals 223. This is the same as novel coronavirus. In reverse reduction, we get a 92. He died on the 92nd day of the year. Schlesinger's full name sums to 317, the 66th prime number. His common name, Adam Schlesinger, also a 66 in reduction. And this brings us to the gematria of Corona, 66 in ordinal. Also notice the 224 in Jewish gematria. He was the singer of Fountains of Wayne, 224 in reverse. His death falling 224 days after the anniversary of the Great American Eclipse. But when we talk about this 224 in Corona, remember this is significant because of the 2024 total solar eclipse, the second Great American Eclipse. And Schlesinger's death fell 4 years and 7 days before that eclipse. Total eclipse 47, Schlesinger 47, 407. There's also a pretty deep code here with the 1331 code. I've talked a lot about this. This guy's name summing to 393 in Jewish Gematria. Just more of the same. 393 summing to 1331. And this ties back again to coronavirus. 1303. Yesterday, we also had news that actor and dialect coach Andrew Jack passed away at the age of 76. Andrew Jack sums to 706 in trigonal gematria. In reduction, Andrew Jack equals 63. He died 63 days after his birthday. In Sumerian, his name equals 540. The date he died had numerology of 54. And then the story made news on a date with 45 numerology, which is Andrew Jack with the K exception. With capital letters, Andrew Jack equals 142, like coronavirus. Another really significant number I've been talking about a lot is 666. And this is due to the magic square of the sun. The sun's significant to the coronavirus because the atmosphere of the sun is called the corona, which is only visible during a total solar eclipse. This virus striking the United States at the midway point between the 2017 and 2024 total solar eclipses. The character that Andrew Jack played in Star Wars sums to 666 in Sumerian. That's the 36th triangular number. You add every number up 1 through 36. And 666 is 3 sixes, of course. And 666, the sum of the magic square of the sun, which has 36 squares. His Star Wars character also summing to 30, just like Corona in reduction. With capital letters, we get a 220, which is the ordinal value of coronavirus pandemic. But what's so interesting about Andrew Jack and his roles in Star Wars, and really, he didn't really star in many other films. He was mostly a dialect coach. So in these two films, he played this Kaluan Imat character. But check out how in the solo Star Wars story film, he played a character named Mullock. And check out how Mullock has the same gematria in 3 of the 4 base ciphers as Corona. Mullock has the 201 code in English Extended Gematria. Of course, it was Event 201, hosted by Bill and Melinda Gates, which was a pandemic exercise, a high-level pandemic exercise, which, of course, includes government, media, police, all sorts of forces. This is also the ordinal gematria of Andrew Jack when added to the other character's name, Kaluan Imat 201. When you add his name to both characters, you get matching gematria with 33. Of course, Corona equals 33, a number of ritual human sacrifice. Andrew Jack died 303 days before his next birthday. And notice the ordinal value of Andrew Jack being 90. Well, the last day before he died was the 90th day of the year, and it was 3/30 for yet another 33. And of course, when you write out the number 90, it's one of only 2 numbers to sum to 33 in reduction. A couple more deaths to touch on. I don't want to get too deep into these, but oh man, the riddles are so solid. We also learned that a singer named Christina, a new wave singer, from the early 80s passed away. And again, the disease is COVID-19, and this number is found all over the numerology of Christina at the time of her death. First of all, she died at the age of 61, which is 91 or 19 upside down. The inverse of 19 is 91. Her death fell 91 days after her birthday and 9 months 1 day before her next birthday. Her name, Christina Zilka, sums to 160 in the alphabetic order, which is, of course, the number 91 turned upside down. Furthermore, the 16th prime number is 53. COVID equals 53. She died on 4/1, which is the Hebrew value of COVID. In reverse reduction, coronavirus equals 70. The name Christina Zilka equals 70. Also notice the 92 in reverse reduction. Her full name, Christina Mole Zilka, equals 92 in standard reduction. Her death fell on the 92nd day of a leap year to the novel coronavirus, 92. However, most of the world learned about her death on the 93rd day of the year, April 2nd, on this leap year. Christina equals 93. She was a new wave artist. Christina Zilka also has this 133 string. Just covered this in the last section. Christina Zilka, also summing to 960 in Sumerian. This is the reverse value of corona. Yet again, across the board. With capital letters, her name sums to the same as COVID-19. Even her birth gematria, Christina Monet Palachi, giving us a 122. This is the Hebrew value of COVID. This is the week that Wuhan was placed under quarantine. 3/11 was the date that coronavirus was declared a pandemic. And she also has the 202, coronavirus pandemic, 113 and 220. And she and her husband founded ZE Records, which is how she was able to release her music. And look at the gematria of ZE Records. Another 113 there for you in ordinal. Next, another one today, comedian Eddie Large, said to have passed away from coronavirus. As we just mentioned, coronavirus equals 70. And Eddie Large's real name is Eddie McGuinness, which sums to 70. His stage name Eddie Large equals 70 and 56. Coronavirus, 56 in reduction. This man died 2 months and 23 days before his 79th birthday. Check out novel coronavirus, 223 and 79. As far as the 92 in reverse reduction, his full name also equals 92 in that same cipher. His stage name Large equals 92, and his last full day alive was the 92nd day of a leap year. Eddie was born on 6/25, meaning he passed away 282 days after his birthday. 282 is the Jewish value of comedian Eddie Large. This also has the 89 in reduction. Virus equals 89. Virus also equals 46, just like disease. Not only did the day he was born have 46 numerology, but the day he died also 46. This virus using it as a sacrifice, 46. The Hebrew value of kill and murder, 46. Today is also 4 years and 6 days before the 2024 eclipse. The name large yielding yet another 113 like coronavirus pandemic. He was a Scottish comedian. Scottish equals 113. Also notice large with yet another 133 in English extended. He was born in 41 on a date with 72 numerology. More COVID numbers. But I hope you see there's a pretty clear trend to all of these deaths, and I don't know if they're picking celebrities and sacrificing some of these by the numbers and saying it's coronavirus. I don't know if some of these people are faking their deaths. It could be a mix thereof. Maybe some of these people have a real virus that they're dying of. I'm not sure, but either way, the news always publishing these stories by the numbers every day. Interesting, none of the chat seems to be working. Let's see if I can refresh this. I just want to take a look at my post here from 2018, where I discussed some interesting alignments with the television series 2020 and its relation to the Revelation and Beast Code, which I was digging into very deeply back then. After I take a look at this post, I am going to try and dig through the chat a little bit. I see a lot of you guys are just kind of venting about how much bullshit the world is going through right now, and I totally agree, and I'll be happy to rant in a little bit. But let's talk about this Revelation Code and why I think it's so important to coronavirus. Now, say what you want about the entire Revelation Code as it is. A lot of people think we're in end times right now. I don't necessarily think this is end times, but this is definitely a page in the playbook. And if you saw my video on September 11th, which you can find on my backup channel, just type in September 11th numerology eclipses. You'll probably find it. And I talk about how 9/11 was very closely related to the Revelation Code. And it's the same thing with COVID-19. And again, it could be just another page in the playbook, another brick on the path to global domination for the New World Order. But either way, I find it very relevant. And I want to point out what I pointed out back in 2018 and how I believe it applies to what we're all experiencing right now here in 2020. So as you all know, there's a television news series in America called 2020. And, the way to look at it probably is that 2020 vision is perfect vision. And this show alleging that, maybe it's the cream of the crop in investigative journalism. I guess that's the proclamation through this name. But I noticed that this series debuted on the date June 6th. Now, Revelation is the 66th and final book of the Bible. And when you look up Revelation 13:18, there's a heavy 66 riddle built into this verse. The verse starts with, "Here is wisdom," which is 66 in standard reduction. Then you have number of the beast, 66. It says it's the number of a man, which sums to 66. And then it reveals the number to be 603 Of course, if you add 6 plus 6 plus 6, you get 18. And the sixth prime number is 13. Here you have Revelation 13:18. So, of course, a lot of numerology in the Bible. This verse, no exception, least of all. So you have this big 66 riddle talking about the beast. This series, 2020, premiering on June 6th, 6/6. Now, in the book of Revelation, the beast rules for 42 months. And, of course, from June 6th, 1978 to June 6th, 2020, this is exactly 42 years. Now, what also happens in June of 2020, that very same month, is that Donald Trump begins his 42nd month since he took office. So within just a few weeks, we have these 42s lining up. And remember, Trump equals 88 and 47, also 470. Beast equals 88 and 47. So then I thought, all right, let's dig into the numerology of 2020. And the first thing that popped into my head here was who created it? Who invented this show? And here you have this Rune Arledge character. And notice how Rune Pinckney Arledge Jr. equals 244. This is also true in Jewish ordinal. So this kind of sticks out doubly, so to speak. And this is interesting because in the year 2020, on the date July 4th, the United States of America turns 244 years old. And I mentioned how 2020, at the bottom of this post, could be a candidate for the next 9/11 because it's 19 years after 9/11. And lo and behold, what is currently ravaging the world? A disease called Covid-19. Remember, 19 years in the moon's metonic cycle, which could be a large reason why they're separating these events by that period of time. In this Jewish reduction cipher, or Jewish ordinal cipher, Revelation has a value of 119. Notice how the name Rune Arledge equals 119 in the alphabetic order. And what do you know, a 113, very relevant as we've been saying. Also notice the 347 in Rune Arledge. This is the value of 13. Just worth documenting for now, I suppose. And this post focuses on the anchors who have been on 2020 throughout the years. They mostly sum to 33, 47, but mostly 33. It's really quite outrageous when you look at it. And I talk about the 2020 code, the 244. And in Hebrew Gematria, kill equals 19 and 244. Bring up our trusty translator. See, kill equals 19, 244. And in the year 19, the United States began its 244th year. Now it's being ravaged by COVID-19. What also stuck out to me when I was doing this research is how 2020 sums to 3310, and in numerology this is 331. Well, the last verse of Revelation is Revelation 22:21, and 22:21 is the 331st prime number. So things seem to keep lining up. 2020, Revelation. Like I said, I made these observations 2 years ago, and I realized something was up. Now check this out. Revelation equals 1010 in Jewish Gematria and 850. These are, of course, as always, the two primary large number ciphers in Gematria. And how about the fact that COVID-19 equals 1010 and 850 in both of those same methods? So, if you follow my work, if you look at my blog, you see I don't really ever make predictions very often, and I don't really point out future dates ahead of time. However, it's become very clear that, I'm typically always onto something. Just this past month, I called the date March 23rd for a major celebrity coronavirus death, and really that's when the deaths really started to roll in. And in fact, I did a video on the specific one that I think was a tribute to the numerology I was talking about. So this is some pretty weird stuff, and I don't mean to creep anybody out. Again, this is just clearly a big page in the playbook. I don't think this is the end of the world, but it's something worth pointing out, and I think definitely plays into the greater plan, so to speak. I would be surprised if many or any major celebrities die of coronavirus. As Bill pointed out, you're saying a disproportionate people of famous people are getting this coronavirus. It's not just that they're getting it, but that they're dying from it. Now, in my personal life, I've talked to several people who know people who have been diagnosed with coronavirus, and none of them are gravely ill. You know, they're just going through what they would typically go through for a flu. Now, as far as the celebrity deaths, yeah, I mean, a lot of these people could be faking their deaths, going off to an island, going off to a far-off nation where these people are congregating and enjoying a life of luxury. I have no idea what the truth is behind all of this. But the idea that this many celebrities are dying suddenly of coronavirus when it's just not affecting that many people at a local level is really quite unreal. Yeah, and as far as Mullock goes, by the way, for those of you who don't know, I pointed out how he played a character named Mullock. This was Andrew Jack, the guy who played in Star Wars, recently died of coronavirus. Of course, Mullock is the statue at the Bohemian Grove where they perform mock child sacrifices. Because, you know, that's totally normal and not satanic or anything. But this is the world we live in. A world operated on by many dimensions. And a lot of dark energies channeling through the wealthy elite who conduct these rituals. And that's definitely what we're seeing right now is this, 2020, the year of death. And of course, death equals 20 in reduction. And you just had to know that something was going on this year when they killed off Kobe Bryant in one of really what was one of the most shocking deaths of a hero in American history. Really shook people to its core. And immediately thereafter, you get Kobe Bryant with the 113 in both English Gematria ciphers, like coronavirus pandemic. You know what I just realized too is that COVID-19 equals 45 in reduction. And his death was 45 days before 11/3, when it was declared a pandemic. In Hebrew, COVID equals 41. Kobe Bryant died at 41. And then the 69th NBA All-Star Game, the MVP award was renamed after Kobe Bryant. He died 157 days after his birthday. He also died a week before Super Bowl 54. Kobe being Bryant equals 54. Also 81, like the number of points he scored. In that one game, 81. Also an 8-10. And then Kobe Bean Bryant died on 126, which is the gematria of 54. 54 and 126. He died with his daughter Gianna Bryant, 126. Kobe Bryant might not actually be dead. He could also be one of those guys on an island somewhere, laughing it up with the rest of those fuzzballs. I have not seen a train story, Hunter. If you could maybe drop a link in, Otherwise, I'll do a quick search for it. Of course, this is a time where the media is going to try and mock conspiracy theorists. It's really funny. I was talking to a friend today, and I pointed out the story about Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson, and she was like, yeah, nobody at work believed that story to begin with. So maybe Tom Hanks and Rita Wilson is a good story to bring up with people when it comes to numerology. Both of them born in 56, just like coronavirus, 56. And 1303, just like Hanks and Wilson, 56 and 1303. And I can't believe how funny it is that Tom Hanks married a woman named Wilson after starring in the movie Castaway, where he loved that volleyball named Wilson. For all you guys commiserating about your families and friends eating this coronavirus stuff up, man, I'm with you there, dude. It's hard for me to get through to anybody. As long as my folks are watching the television, it's like their brains are just going to be mush. And you can't get through to them unless they turn that thing off. Because once you turn it off, then things become a little clearer when you start putting things together from different sources. It's the tell-lie vision, everybody. The television really only exists for the wealthy class to be able to communicate with the underlings. Just to recap my post on 2022, I mean, this is really insane when you look at the numerology of these anchors. At the time I made the post, Elizabeth Vargas, who has matching Gematria with 33, was the host. The other lead anchor had Gematria of the 33rd prime number. Both of them also with names of 47, like News. Juju Chang with the same Gematria as 33, and Chang equals 33. Her name is Juju. It's funny. And then as you go down the list of past anchors, you get a Robert, which is 33. Hugh Downs, the 33rd prime. Barbara Walters equals the same as 33. You had Diane Walters, Diane Gibson. Diane and Gibson equals 33. So does Sam. So does Miller. John Stossel has the same Gematria as 33. I mean, this is really out of control. Oh, yeah, and how about that? 2020 equals 214. The 214th prime is 1307, which connects us back to 33. Also notice how 2020 equals 3090. And then 22 equals 39. Well, Rune Arledge died on December 5th of 2002. Which had primary numerology of 39, also the 339th day of the year. And you have to appreciate how this guy died in 2002, the year that has the same numerology as 2020. And this is just another example of how these zeros are insignificant in numerology. Dying in 2002 after creating 2020. You gotta love it. (2020) also 56, like coronavirus. The 244 in ordinal that we mentioned, this is the Jewish value of 19. He's got the upside down 911. Rune Arledge with the 119, the 407, like News 47. Someone says there was a show 2020 canceled in 2002. Not familiar with that show. All right, guys, I think I'm going to go ahead and sign off and get myself some sleep. Got a little bit of work to do tomorrow morning, but I'm enjoying an extended weekend. And if some of you guys are getting some time off, I hope you're at least making the best of it. Do what you can in this time. Try and better yourself. I'm trying to. I'm getting there, right? All right, guys. Thanks to everybody for jumping in. That'll do it for this video. Peace, love, God bless, and we'll talk to you next time. See ya!